And we are live. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining Jason Hebert Live. We have another missing persons interview for you tonight. If you are not familiar with the show, what we do here is interview the loved ones of missing persons and unsolved crimes in an effort to help spread awareness. Sorry, guys. In an effort to spread awareness and help try to bring clarification, answers, and sometimes even justice to the cases. Our show is interactive, so it works a bit differently than other shows you might find on the platform. So not only do you get to watch the interviews live, but you can participate in the chat and ask your questions. So maybe it's a case that you've had questions, a question or two you've wanted to know for years, you've never been able to get answered. You can come on and ask it directly to the guest. Or maybe it's a brand new case that you just found out about today and questions are flowing in as you learn about it. But either way, you can communicate directly to the guest. And so if that's something that interests you and you enjoy trying to help these families, trying to help solve the cases and, help them through the toughest times in their lives, then click subscribe below. Make sure to set the notification bell to all. You can also join. There are certain perks if you hit the join button below the video. Now, if you hit the description, you will find links to our guest page, as well as all my contact info, as all relevant links are down there, including if you would like to support the channel. So you'll see a link coming up throughout the chat that also brings you to where you can support. If you do decide to support it, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. And that's basically that. So tonight's case, we have Kimberly Kahn on. She is the cousin of Georgie Gutenberg, who disappeared April 27th of this year. So it's been a few months now. April. So yeah, it hasn't been too long. Okay, so only a few weeks, it looks like, and there's not a ton of information about this case. When I was doing research, I have to say this is probably in the top 3 or 4 for cases that there wasn't much out there. Now, a part of that, of course, could be that, it hasn't been around too long, but there isn't much out there. I'm going a little slow here because, hi, Lawrence, hi, Louise, hi to the 2 Marys, Shammy, Dawn, hey, everybody. We only got about 25 people in here, so I'm trying to go a little slow and let people come in. Hi, Bev, and Watcher. We have had a heck of a time with our notifications today. Almost nobody's getting notifications. That's been going on for weeks, if not months, but it's getting worse. I have just dozens and dozens of people telling me, why aren't I getting my notifications? So I don't know what's going on. That's probably the reason that the chat's building up a little slow, but the one we did a few nights ago, it started slow like this, and by like the 10-15 minute mark, we had over 100 people in here at a time. So I'm hoping that's what's going on and notifications are just going out late. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. The way that I do these is I'm going to read some basics on the case. It's just a quick little article. This one is extremely quick, just to get you guys the basics. I try not to have information repeated too much. I don't want to go over something that Kimberly will then come on because she's going to say it a lot better than me. So I try not to waste your time and tell you it for her to then come on and expound upon it. So I'm just going to give you guys the very, very basics, and then we'll bring our guest on to go over the story. So police are looking for help, and this is from heraldnet.com. Police are looking for help in finding a missing Lake Stevens woman. Georgie Gutenberg, 49 years old, was last seen early on the morning of April 27th, of course, 2021. She was believed to have been driving an orange Jeep Wrangler. The license plate number for the 2012 4-door vehicle is B like boy, T like Thomas, X like Xavier, 6744. Currently, there are no suspicious circumstances related to Georgie's whereabouts, police wrote as part of an announcement looking for tips. If you see her, please call 911. We will be showing plenty of pictures of Georgie on the screen throughout the show tonight. If you have any information about the case, contact the police department tip line at 425-622-9369. Or email tipslines, TIPSLINES, all one word, at Lake Stevens, WA. That's all one word, Stevens with an S, lakestevenswa.gov. All right, guys, so that's the basic. Hey, Peridot Eyes and everybody coming in. Okay, we got a few more people coming. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to bring on Kimberly to go over some of the details, and hopefully this can kind of be the start to find her, of course, or at the very least, just branch it out and get the story out there because we need more out there on this case. So tonight we are joined by Kimberly. Kim, thanks you so much. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I couldn't even imagine being in your shoes. So thank you for having the strength to come on today and do this for your cousin. I'm sure she appreciates it. And thank you for having me. Thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
having me on, actually.
I'm saying your lines.
Thanks for having me on. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk about her.
No problem. So yeah, I want you to know you're not alone here. You have me and my team, as well as everyone in the chat. We have a great little group of people here that are into trying to help investigate and track things down. So we're going to see all we can do to. It hasn't been too long. Luckily, I mean that's kind of relative, right? But someone like me who has dealt with hundreds of cases, I've seen ones that are 30 years. A few years, but one like this where it's just a month, at least it leaves a lot of hope that maybe something's going on that just hasn't been explained, and hopefully we can get her home.
That's what we're hoping.
Absolutely. So do you want to start? Maybe tell us a little bit about her, just in general, who she was, and then lead us into the timeline, what we know.
So Georgie is just a little ray of sunshine. She's never met a stranger. She's super friendly. She loves the outdoors. She recently, I think within the last couple of years, had bought a kayak and had been spending some time on the lakes in her area. She's a mother of 2 children and devoted to that, a wife, a sister, a daughter, and a cousin. She left her home early in the morning, very early in the morning on April 27th. And around 3:30 in the morning, from what I understand, she was seen on camera getting gas at a gas station near her home. And then she was seen again around 4:40 in the morning at a convenience store. And from what I understand from the detective, she bought a pack of cigarettes and then she disappeared without a trace. She hasn't been seen since, and she hasn't had any activity on her debit card. And I believe there's been nothing on her credit cards, and the family does not aware of any cash that she had.
Okay. So we have the 2 sightings. The cigarette is the last one. Do we know why she initially left her house to go out?
No.
That's a late time to be leaving the house.
Yeah, she when I initially heard it, it didn't seem that early in the morning to me because I used to work a job where I had to be out that early in the morning, but she wasn't in that kind of an occupation, so it was an odd time for her to be out. And she left her phone at home, or her phone is still at the house. And that her husband could tell none of her personal belongings had been taken other than her wedding ring. So
even her, odd. But she took her purse and stuff, right? And cards to pay for the gas and cigarettes.
Yeah. But nothing that according to her husband, he couldn't see that anything else was missing. Okay. One of the strange things is that her SIM card is not in her phone. So I think that the assumption was that she took the SIM card out and left the phone at the house. Why she did that, I don't know.
So the phone was at the house sitting there.
Yeah. The night before, she had called her sister and she was upset. She was crying and not very happy with her life. And her sister said she had been depressed for some time. So we're very concerned about that. But that's all we know.
Do you know, or can you get into the specifics of that phone call? What in particular was not going well in her life?
She had expressed unhappiness with her marriage at that time. And according to some of the other family, Georgie did have some mental health struggles, and maybe what she was saying to her sister wasn't entirely true. But her sister didn't go into too many specific details with me, just that, like a lot of marriages, there were problems.
Right. Okay. Now let's take, and to be clear, since we're going to start getting into other people, anybody we mention on the show, there are no hard allegations being made. heard
No,
anything
no.
like that. Everything's alleged, and I just want to be clear because names get brought up a lot, and I get a lot of messages from people that, hey, my name was mentioned, so we're not accusing anyone of anything. We're simply trying to piece things together and figure out what happened.
And I don't have any firsthand knowledge that there was any problem in her marriage at all. You know, from all outward appearances, everything was fine.
Okay. But so, and we don't know if it's a mental health thing or whatever, but the night before she is calling in tears over.
Yeah. She was upset and depressed, and she had expressed a desire to come out and see her for a while, but that hadn't happened.
Okay. Now, what's the situation with the husband? Has he been actively involved as far as you know in looking for her? Or what's his role been since this happened? Okay.
Yeah, he's actively involved in looking for her. I actually was following up on a lead near where I live, and I talked to him on the phone, and you know, he seemed like he wanted me to follow up on it and see if I could find her.
Was she seeing any doctors on any medication for any of this, like depression or anxiety or things that she was struggling with?
I don't have any knowledge of that now.
Okay. Because what I'm wondering is she typically doesn't leave the house at that late hour. The day before, she's extremely upset. I'm wondering if there was some kind of a fight. Did the husband mention any fight that would have got her to leave at night, need to get out of there kind of thing?
No, you know, her sister felt like maybe that had happened specifically because she had bought cigarettes at one of the convenience stores, and that's something she only does when she's stressed or upset.
I'm the same way, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he has been very cooperative. He's tried to help in the search, but when he's saying that there was no fight, no argument, anything like that.
I don't know if he said that to the officers or not, the detectives. I don't know that. The detective didn't share that with me. What the detective shared with me was they assumed that she went away of her own free will, and that she would contact them if she felt like it, and that unless something new happened, they would be making the case inactive on Monday.
Oh, wow. Okay. That Monday, or they said this to you recently, this coming Monday?
This coming Monday.
Oh.
And you mind you, she's only been missing for 11 days now.
Yeah, it's not long at all. In the greater scheme of things, of course.
No, and I feel like there's enough unanswered questions that we should still be looking for her, even if it's only just for her own well-being, because she's a danger to herself.
Right. Well, so the scary thing is somebody didn't want the phone being tracked. The question, correct. I mean, that much is obvious. The question is, was it her or was it somebody else who had access to it? And there aren't too many people who would have had access to it, I don't believe.
Right.
So,
so there's way more unanswered questions than there are answered questions. And yeah, that is literally all the information that we have. She hasn't been seen since 4:40 a.m. on April 27th. And it's just kind of, I had the feeling after I talked to the detective that they were just unconcerned and kind of writing it off as she's gone of her own free will. Right. But my problem with that is, as a mother, I just don't think that there's any way on this planet that she would leave for this long without letting her children know she's okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. She seems like the type that definitely wouldn't leave them. Now, what I'm thinking is that's a very hard Jeep to miss.
It's very noticeable, and Georgie is very noticeable. She's a tall drink of water. She's between 5'10" and 5'11". Okay. She is noticeable, very noticeable.
So she leaves. The truck is just vanished, right? We don't know what the truck is.
Yeah, they haven't found the Jeep either.
Has anybody? And again, I don't mean to pick on anyone or focus on one person too much, but sometimes in these stories there are only a couple people really close to the situation. So has anybody either asked neighbors or asked to see any cameras, those doorbell rings, whatever's, to see if the truck maybe did come home after that and then left again?
I can't definitively answer that. And part of the issue was in the first bulletin that went out from the police department, they had incorrect contact information for the tip lines. And so there were people trying to leave tips who couldn't get a hold of anybody. And so they were just randomly on Facebook. So as of right now, I think the family is trying to figure out what leads have actually been followed up on versus what the police just have never heard because that contact information was incorrect on that flyer.
Right. Now you're spending a lot of your time going around and chasing leads, right?
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion just to you as someone who has dealt with, heard of a lot of cases? Many of those surveillance things in the homes, I have like a 2-week period and then they overwrite. So because we're about to be 12 days in, you're at about a 2 or 3 day period before they do. I would go and knock on any streets you would have driven down, ask them if there's any camera footage you could see, and would they let you take a look at it? Because you may have a couple days to see if she came back down in that area. Because if she came home, then the whole story shifts, right?
Right. And like I said, I don't know that hasn't been done. One thing I will suggest that to the family that lives a little closer to that area. But one thing I think we do have going in our favor is her dad is a former law enforcement.
Okay.
So he has started to become actively involved. So I think we're going to start to see some more movement.
Okay. Yeah. And I only suggested, I don't mean to say the police haven't done it, but because they're not being super transparent, which they often aren't because they have to hold something.
They can't be. Yeah.
Exactly. But the thing is, I just see so many families that are kind of in your situation. And then 6 months later, they're told, oh, no, we didn't do that. And it's like, now it's too late. That's why I said maybe,
No, that's a good suggestion. I'll ask the question because just because I feel like they are assuming that she's gone of her own free will, that maybe they haven't done that. So I will ask that question. I have my notepad.
Okay. Yes. Sometimes you see patterns in cases, so I can kind of give little tips as because I know where other people went wrong in their, cases. So just make sure that you consider the option. That's all. So we have a question from Louise Haraway. She's specifically asking about the husband, but I'll ask about anyone. Has anyone been like given lie detector tests or anything like that? Anybody close to it?
Not that I'm aware of, and I highly doubt it.
Okay, because they think it's her.
Yeah, they think she just left.
Now, have you told her have you told them that that's extremely unlike her with to leave her kids and all that, and they still are just saying?
Yeah, I had a conversation with them. I called actually to follow up on a lead that I had because no one was responding to the tip line. And I did suggest that to them. And I know this morning the detective finally called her sister this morning after I gave him her phone number and said she wanted to talk to him. So I'm sure that she expressed that to him.
Okay.
As well, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, where are you leaning? What I know obviously you don't know, but are you leaning towards a theory? As someone who knows her,
I don't really know her husband, so I can't, it's hard for me to speculate on that. I mean, I do have personal experience with somebody else in my family who was a victim of domestic violence, and he ended up trying to kill her, and no one thought he was going to do it. Right. He was one of our favorite people, so I'm not going to totally write that off. But on the other hand, there are mental health struggles in our family, and I have seen people do things like this, not this dramatic, but I do know that when somebody is in a mental health crisis, this kind of stuff can happen. So I think that I'm sitting squarely right in the middle of that fence, and my mind is open to any of those possibilities.
Now, I believe many of them can't, or maybe none of them can give you any information, but have you looked into any hospitals, mental health centers to see if she's tried to check in anywhere? Have you gone that route?
Yeah, I believe her brother and his wife have been doing exactly that. They checked the airports. They were all over it when this first happened because they thought, well, maybe she met somebody at the airport. They, just had no idea what might have happened.
Um, hmm. Yeah, and I'm just thinking of how noticeable that Jeep is, you know.
You know, it's interesting because when I talked to the detective, and don't get me wrong, I don't I'm not trying to criticize, law enforcement and what they do. I know they have a hard job, but one of the things that he said to me was that he had gotten hundreds of tips on this orange Jeep with a brunette woman driving it.
Okay.
And he stopped short of saying that if he followed up on all of them, he'd spend his whole day doing it. But what he did say was it's not like he could go door to door looking for every orange Jeep because there were so many of them.
Right.
I feel like orange on that color of orange on a Jeep is extremely noticeable. And that my cousin is pretty noticeable that, somebody has to have seen her.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm hoping. This kind of case where you have so many things that stand out is why I'm hoping us doing this and putting it on Facebook and for everywhere to see will get the attention of someone who may have seen something, Now, Peridot Eyes asks, what's the population of the city she's from? Is it big town?
No, it's I think the 2019 count was 33,000 some odd people. It's about 35 miles north of Seattle, though, so she's pretty close to a big city.
Okay. And we do have a lot of people mentioning a certain thing. Sometimes I hesitate to say certain things, but we're just kind of covering every route, talking about like bodies of water. This comes up often when a cockpit.
She lives right next to a lake. I believe that they checked that one. And today, her dad and her brothers, I think, went with the police department out to the other lake near there to check. Yeah. And I don't know if she has a passport, but I assume that if she did, it was still at the house.
Okay.
There was no mention of that.
She didn't take it. Nobody's okay.
Yeah, so I think that they may still be looking around that body of water right now because I haven't gotten any updates on it.
And I'm thinking because it's so noticeable, if it is in a body of water, it's probably easily seen unless it's super deep somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But probably wouldn't have been able to get very deep. Peridot asks, in the town, is it like a heavy crime rate or is it a smaller town?
No, it's kind of her sister describes it as a wealthy enclave. I think it's upper middle class, not a lot of crime, just a lot of single family homes, nicer single family homes. 70% of the people that live there are like families.
Okay, so decent little place for sure.
Yeah.
Not that things can't happen anywhere, but
no, yeah. But no, not a high crime rate at all. It's like just a sleepy little town.
Okay, and similar to Peridot's question, has she ever had anything? I know she's never just vanished off the face of the earth, but has she taken a weekend away without telling anyone or anything similar before?
So her husband did say that in the past she's gotten pissed and left for a day.
Okay. That was
I don't know exactly what words he used, but that he did say that, yeah, she's left for like a day before, but never anything like this.
Okay. So maybe one time or two times, whatever, one day or so.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's why nobody got freaked out right away. But.
And do you know all of her friends? Like, have you tried maybe going on her Facebook or Instagram, any social media, finding her friends, seeing if anybody's heard from her, if she's maybe hiding out with someone because she's dealing with something? I mean, anything really? Have you talked to all of her friends?
I wouldn't say that anyone knows all of her friends, but what I would say is that a lot of them have been reaching out to us. And for the most part, I think that we know all the areas where she had friends. So she went to high school for a time in Florida, and the friends that she had there that she maintained have reached out already. She grew up for the most part in a little town in Northern California called Redding, California. And we all have tons of ties to that area. So we have people all over that area as well.
Okay. And I'm assuming her husband, since he has access to the phone and the house computer, I'm guessing he may have access to try to get into like her social media. Has he like looked through her messengers to see what she was doing, if she talked to anybody that day or anything like that, as far as you know?
Well, about 2 years ago, she deleted her social media. So she doesn't have any that I am aware of, or that her sister's aware of. So as far as that goes, there's not a lot.
Okay. Hey, I'm trying. Chat's going kind of fast, so they're referencing a question. Just saying, Shammy. I'm trying to see what you said, Shammy, that people are saying. Good question. Or I think it can be tracked. If you could put the question again, I missed whatever you guys are talking about. No, Andy, she left her phone at the house and took the SIM card out, or somebody did, let's say. And the police believe it to be her, as far as we know.
Yeah, they don't know if she still has the SIM card or it's just not in the phone.
And the kids are all young that she has?
No, she has a daughter who's around my daughter's age. My daughter's 18, and then she has a son who's a little bit older than that.
Okay. A lot of people asking things about the husband. Have they looked into his phone? But we don't know that, what they've done. You've already kind of answered that.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I mean, I would assume that some of that has been done. But then the flip side of that is if they think that she left on her own and she doesn't want to be found, they may not have done any of it. So
exactly. Yeah. And if he's watching, just so you know, both myself and the chat, nobody's accusing you of anything. It's just the husband and the wife are always questioned heavily. So
yeah, and I don't, like I said, there is not a single reason that I have to suspect him of anything. Like I said, from everything that I have ever seen on social media, everything seemed happy. So.
And Layla Anna Heat, if the kids have any insight, are they leaning one way or another? If they said anything that might have been going on in the house that they found weird or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't want to speak out of turn for her kids, but not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. So I like to do this around this point where I feel like it's one of the most important parts of the interview. It's kind of a two-part thing, though. I would like for you to maybe speak directly to her if she's listening, get a message right to her. What I'll do is I'll put you on screen like this. And you can say whatever you would like. And if you would also like, it's up to you if you would like to speak to anyone who may have information and is not coming forward. And you can use the time however you would like to speak directly to anybody.
Yeah, I think what I really want to say directly to Georgie is that if you are out there and you don't want to be found, that's fine. We understand. But we would just really love it if you could call the Lake Stevens Police Department to just let them know that you're okay. So we can tell your kids and your sister and your other siblings and your dad that you're fine, and you will contact them if and when you want to. And if there's anybody who knows where she is and maybe she's staying with you, if you could do that or talk her into doing that, we would really appreciate it, because the not knowing is really the worst thing.
Yeah, that's a very common thing that we hear. It's always the worst part, not knowing. What about, as we start to wrap up a little, what about like tattoos, identifying marks, anything? If someone sees her and thinks it may be her, is there anything they could look for?
Nothing visible that, no. I mean, it's just she's tall for a woman, and so when you can see from one of the pictures when she's standing next to her sister that she just kind of towers over everybody. And that one, yeah, she's tall, yeah. So it's not like you wouldn't notice her if she stepped out of an orange Jeep.
Right.
She, her head had come to the top of the thing. You'd notice her.
Absolutely, yeah, she's very noticeable. And with that truck, I mean, I just can't imagine so anyone out there, please, whether you're in this area, the surrounding area, or maybe somewhere even a little farther, we honestly don't know where she could have went. It's nearing 2 weeks. You can get anywhere in the country in that time.
Yes, you can.
Even by a car. So please come forward if you know anything, even if it's the kind of thing where you're on the fence because you don't want to be involved. Just shoot a message and just say, I don't want to be involved. I don't want my name out there, but here's what I know. The family needs to know, because I can tell you, just like she said, the not knowing is the worst part, especially, and there are kids here being affected. So maybe she's not in the right mental place right now and she needs some time to herself. That's understandable. But the kids also deserve to know that she's safe and, and basically that's it. So please never assume that there's no bit of information that is too small. Don't assume that maybe Kimberly already knows it, so it's no point in coming forward. You'd be surprised how many times these cases are like tiny little bits of info. You don't know who knows what. You just got to connect the right few little pieces, and they get solved. So please come forward if you know anything. The links are below to message Kimberly. There's also a link for myself, and you've been given the info for the police as well. But please, guys, don't just send it to me. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. I don't mind. You can send me anything you want, but you also want to get it to Kimberly and the family and the police, especially if it's something time sensitive. Because if you just send me something and I don't see it for 3 days, and had we acted immediately, we would have found her. But now because I took too long, so just try, you can send it to me also, but send it to Kimberly. That's where we want to get it. And I'm sure there are other family members that they could send it to as well, right, on her page that are actively on her husband or her family.
Yes.
So let me see a couple more questions real quick. I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want to ask that. Give me one. A lot of people just doing the prayer hand, saying praying for her safe return. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So Jimmy said, I was saying I would want it to be confirmed that it was normal for her to get mad and leave the house. Surely someone would know. No, that wasn't very normal as far as we know. You said, right?
No, her husband had said that it was several times. She had done it a few times before, but it wasn't like it was regular that I know of, at least from what I was told.
Okay. Kelly says, I'll keep my eyes out. Be on the lookout for an orange Jeep and a tall woman. Absolutely, guys. Thank you, Angie. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. Everybody check out Angie. She's great. Is there anything that wasn't asked or said today that you wanted to say or you feel is important to get out there? Take your time, as much time as you need to get everything out.
Just want to look at my notes here because I made some so I wouldn't forget anything. But
okay, take your time. I'll go over some pictures while you do that. Okay, guys. So again, this is her. She is very tall, about 5'10" to 5'11", if you're just joining us. She may be driving this Jeep. We do not know the location of it currently. Didn't have much on her when she left, as far as we know, maybe like a wallet and a purse kind of thing. She was able to buy cigarettes and gas, so she did have some money and such on her, but no passports, no items like that. As far as we know, nothing was taken. So please just keep an eye out. Again, 5'10" to 5'11". Is that her husband right there?
Yes, that's her husband.
Okay, just curious. So that's her and her husband.
The only thing I can think of is there was some thought to if she didn't have cash, how would she be getting around? And she took her wedding rings, so they were calling around to pawn shops trying to see if maybe she'd pawn them. So I don't know if if anybody who has a pawn shop sees this,
Yeah, or if you're in the area and you know someone who goes to a pawn shop often, have them ask. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good idea. I didn't think of that. Check around pawn shops for sure. But she did have some money, right? Because she bought the gas and cigarettes, but we don't because she doesn't access her bank accounts.
She used her debit card for those transactions, and those were the last 2 transactions.
Right. Okay.
Nothing since.
So nothing since. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they have no way. Yeah, that's a dumb question. They can't track where that SIM card is without it being in the phone, obviously.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. Dang. What an odd thing to just put the phone. See, what if? Well, you know what?
I guess what strikes me as odd, but I don't know how technologically savvy she was. So, maybe she knew that.
But I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe it could have been if him and her were arguing, she just didn't want him to bother her. Maybe that's all that means. Maybe it wasn't a don't be tracked.
Yeah, I don't know if they. One question I didn't ask the detective is, can they tell when she took the SIM card out?
I would think they could.
Yeah, so if they can, maybe they know it was taken out right before she left, and they're assuming it was her. I don't know.
Yeah, does anybody in the chat know the answer to that? I'm assuming we can. At the very least, we can tell when the phone was shut down because she would have shut it down to take it out. So at the very least, if we had that would be helpful. Does anyone know? Does anyone go with phones? I'm not a good technological person. Paradoi says, you said she bought smokes when stressed. So something went on that night in the house. Yeah, there might have been a fight or something, Peridot. We're kind of thinking that could have been what happened. Unfortunately, nothing has been reported. He says no, but of course we weren't there. We don't know for sure. Layla asks, excuse me, have parks been checked? Did she maybe go to the mountains? I mean, you guys are kind of checking everywhere.
Yeah. They're kind of looking anywhere near that, in that vicinity and a little bit further out. My husband and I are probably tomorrow going to make a little drive up and down I-5, handing out flyers and spreading out a little further just to see if anybody has seen her anywhere. I know her dad went down as far as Crescent City, following up on leads there.
Is there anything you're planning in the future, whether it be online or in person, ways that people can help and get involved, search parties, anything like that people can help you out with?
I would have to talk to the family about that to see if there's anything planned yet. I can't answer that.
Okay. All right. And did you say that was all of your questions? Was there anything else?
Yeah, we don't really know a lot, so that was anything I had.
Okay. Yeah. In this kind of case where you don't know much, the police can't tell you the little bit they know. Sometimes there's not much you can really squeeze out of the case at this point. But at the very least, I still like to do these because we get the story out there, the basic story. We get our pictures, and thousands of people watch it, and we'll take it from there. And who knows where it leads? But
that's what we're hoping.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, you were amazing, Kimberly. You represented her very well. I know she's very proud of you. We're going to hope and pray for a positive resolution. Please keep me updated. If anybody messages you off of the back of this interview and either tells you a tip or has an idea, anything like that, you can always message me. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to get back because I get a lot of messages some days. But
no worries.
Yeah,
I will.
I
will do that.
I try to keep an eye on. But thank you so much. You did amazing. Thank you for joining us. And let's find her and bring Georgie home.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a great night, Kim.
You too.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Kimberly was lovely. I pray that she gets the answers that she is looking for. That's just, a shame. Yeah, no, the vehicle was seen driving around. There have been a lot of reports, but the police have kind of said that there's a lot of orange Jeeps and they don't know which is hers. They can't go looking at every orange Jeep in the area, things like that. And she was seen buying cigarettes and gas and all that. So thank you to everyone for joining us. We do appreciate you. All the links to contact Kimberly are below, as well as the links to support the channel. We do appreciate anyone if you would like to support the channel. It helps us greatly. I'll also put the link one more time in the chat there. So if you do decide to help out, thank you so much in advance. And everything goes towards just building it and finding the families. We have another one scheduled for Monday. And I've talked to about 40 families last night while I was at work. So I'm waiting on tons of responses. And that's basically it, guys. You've all been amazing. And thank you so much to everyone for watching. Please like the video. And please support any way that you can. And make sure to join us Monday. That doesn't mean that that's the next show. I might, in the meantime, get one on Saturday or Sunday. It all just depends. Sometimes they come last second and we kind of jump on. So just keep an eye on the channel and you'll know when the next one is coming. All right, guys, I love yous. And I'm going to go get a little rest before work. We'll call it a day. Have a great night. Thank you for watching Jason Hebert Live. Subscribe, set notification bell to all, and take care. I love yous. Bye-bye.